am as a person, like everything about me is like art. Like art, music, and film are like my like everything to me. So it just goes against kind of what's inside me, and I hate that. It's just like this little freaking mouse inside my head being like, you need to re-edit this. You need to color grade this differently. Da-na-na-na-na. But yeah, it's stupid. But I'm like currently in the editing process. Life has just gotten too crazy recently.
How long would you say a minute takes?
A minute of editing?
Like a minute of film, how long is the edit for that?
It just depends. It depends on what. For example, my latest project, Excalibur, is a dark fantasy. Like it's a short film art piece brand launch thing. I don't know. But I have a specific look I'm going for, and I've been editing the past, I would say 2 or 3 shots, and that's taken me about 5 hours just to make sure it looks great. But that's just because I'm using Lightroom for making LUTs and stuff. I color grade in Lightroom, turn it into a LUT, and then put it into Premiere. And then after that, then I take whatever clip it is, and if it needs a graphic, I'll put it into After Effects. So it's a process, and that's what's taking me so long. But
that sounds really up and around the bend.
It is. So that was the first attempt at it, is what I'm trying to say. But the second attempt has been, let me just lay the groundwork and then just do it layer by layer. One, because the time it takes to render, oh my gosh, dude, it's literally
dumb Premiere
taking me,
people. Oh my gosh.
For real. This is why I started with Final Cut. I love Final Cut. I will probably go back to Final Cut once I'm done paying $25 a month for this stuff. But I don't know. I am having a lot of fun, like playing around with other apps too. But yeah, no, it's taking me forever just to like render a few like minutes of footage, which is actually crazy. But that's only because I put like adjustment layers with like channel blur or whatever, and then color grade on top of that. I don't know why, but it could be my specific Mac.
Why aren't you using Avid?
Avid?
Yeah.
I don't care enough.
Really?
Yeah, and I just don't think it has enough.
I feel like that would stop your render issue, right?
I don't know. I tried Avid about a year ago. Like when I was taking the class, I tried it on my laptop. it wasn't as quick as I wanted it to be, and I felt I had more room for creative, what's the word? Creative
freedom.
Freedom. Yeah, creative freedom in like Premiere or Final Cut personally. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I know your go-to editing software is Final Cut Pro.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Well, I don't know. These editing softwares, they're tools, right? It's like, what are we making, right? Most of the time I'm making something like this, like a podcast. I don't need Avid for this.
You don't need Avid.
You know what I mean? I don't need Premiere for this. I can just throw this in Final Cut.
Yeah.
Make sure the cameras look the same, and make sure, we're not blowing out anyone's eardrums. That's as far as it goes. Or a YouTube video, I'm doing that on Final Cut. Like, that's what they made it for, is like YouTube video content.
What I was using when I was doing YouTube.
Yeah.
Final Cut.
But for like my latest film, Murphy's Law, I wish I could have done it on Avid, just because of the nature of how everything was shot. Because I shot it like Murphy's Law, except for like the inner workings of how we did it. The end result was kind of industry standard of like, this is your close up, this is your take 2 of close up, this is your take 3. All right, let's flip the room. This is your take. It was a lot of that. And Final Cut does not lend itself for nonlinear editing at all. It's a very linear editing system. So where it's like, if you have multiple of the same moment in time, it really starts getting hairy very quickly. And obviously Avid, that's what it's for. That was the biggest thing I noticed with Avid, is that Avid is tailor-made for that style of shooting.
It's
not that style
standard
of editing.
Yeah.
So like all these guys making short films, like working on Premiere and DaVinci and stuff. It's like, okay, well, you're not shooting like the correct way, right? They're doing like one take of the thing and then they're moving on, right?
Yeah.
There's not, they're not getting coverage. And if you don't do that, DaVinci works amazingly. Final Cut works amazing. Premiere looks amazing. Honestly, Avid works really good with that too. But if you're shooting, here's our wide, and we're gonna like adjust everything to the wide. Let's put the wide on the bottom layer, and then put the medium shots on the second layer, and then the close-ups on the third layer, and then their other person's close-ups on the fourth layer, and now we have like our insert shots on the fifth layer. I mean, can you even do 5 layers in Premiere?
You can, but that means you just have to keep. It's not like you can just like drag and drop. It's like, you have to like go right click, add a layer, make sure things are. It's a lot. It gets messy, I would say. Like, so that's why I do like Avid. Its neatness and organization.
Yeah.
Even Final Cut Pro for like shorter videos and like short films too. Short YouTube videos, but short films too. I think it's just kind of easier for organization. Like it's bins and stuff.
Yeah, I will say the events, right?
Yes.
The event, and then keyword folders, and then what is it called?
I haven't used it since I was like 18.
There's like another folder in it that's really good. Anyway, the events are amazing in Final Cut. That's the one reason I hate using Premiere. I almost never use it, is because the bin system in Premiere is unusable. It's just straight up unusable. It's like, where's my stuff?
Yeah, no, I just put it all in one big project folder. The only thing call me messy, but that's literally just what I'll do. But then I'll have like, I'll label them, and I will like reorganize things. So like, all the music and graphics are at the top, but then the footage is at the bottom, and then it's already labeled from what I did in doing the DIT work.
Gotcha.
So that's how I organize it.
Dangerous.
But it is very dangerous. Living life on the edge. But yeah.
So would you say, do you cut everything, and then you go through and you do all your sound, and then you go through do all your color grading, or do you do it all at the same time slowly?
I think it depends on the project. See, with Excalibur, I tried both ways, because I'm used to doing it where I just put everything down first, like I definitely put the audio in first, because I think it's so fundamental, like just the music, and with the flow of editing as well, just having like something to go off of. So I'm using this like,
so but it's a music video.
What, Excalibur?
Excalibur.
It's more of a short film.
Okay.
So initially I was going to do like a music video style and just focus on like the music and like the story, but now it's not. It's more so of an art piece rather than a music video. And I did find this. I found it on TikTok scrolling through dark fantasy, like 80s AI generated stuff. But it's this song called Hide CSO1 version, and it's like it's like mystical, and I love it so much. And it's just it's a beautiful piece, and I really want that to help emulate what I'm trying to. I don't know how to describe this, but I want that to be kind of like the vibes. I hate to use that word, but like,
okay, yeah,
it just suits the project. So I definitely put music in first. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a music video, but yeah, no. So what I'll do is I'll put the music down kind of as a base. Then I'll throw. I'm always so tempted to color. Like that's like the first thing I want to do. I was like, let me color grade this.
Especially if you shoot log.
Exactly.
And everything's just grayscale.
Just like, please. Yeah, no. Shooting on Blackmagic, like I love shooting on Blackmagic. Like it's a video camera for a reason, but like it will like auto color grade stills and stuff, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know why.
Interesting.
But it's great. It's great. I love, like, I'll open up stills. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need to do anything to this. This is already perfect.
It might be because it's shooting JPEG.
Probably. I don't know.
If I shoot JPEG on this, it'll bake in the picture profile. If I shoot RAWs, then it like when you open it up in the camera, you'll see whatever the picture profile was.
Yeah, no, typically I'll shoot RAW.
But when you move it to, like raw photos, not raw video.
Photos. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
But yeah.
So I was like, why do my RAWs look so bad? It's like, well, I'm shooting with a picture profile.
Exactly.
And then it's not transferring with the RAWs. Everything's dark.
Yeah.
So I just accidentally was shooting in S-Log 3 picture profile for my stills. It's great.
That is great. Yeah. But yeah, so there is no distinct way in which I edit, but start with music, then I'll just put everything down, color grade, even though I love it so much. Like, if it's just, I don't know, I will want to do that as soon as possible, but sometimes that'll distract me from the actual, like, video itself and, like, making sure the cuts are fine.
You also don't want to color grade something you're not going to put in the movie.
Exactly.
You know, that's a waste of time as well.
This looks good, but is it fun? Is it?
Yeah.
Does it need to be in the movie? No.
I will say that's a thing. I purposely don't color grade until the very end because I will want to use a shot that looks good. But when it's all log, you're just judging, like, does this help the story or whatever?
Yeah. But it looked good in BTS or something like that.
That's what you post on the gram.
Exactly.
You post the still on the gram.
Some stills from my short film.
You get all the likes, and then you post your short film, and the audio doesn't work. And then no one likes it.
Yeah, I get you. Oh, I've seen your post for Murphy's Law. It's looking good. I saw you did some color grading and stuff already.
Yeah. Well, it's been done.
It's finished?
Yeah.
Everything?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's just unlisted on YouTube with the clickbait title with all the hashtags. It's been that way for like 2 weeks.
With all the hashtags?
Yeah.
What are the hashtags?
I don't know, like fucking short film, student film.
Hashtag SCC student.
Hashtag Sony FX3 LUT color grade S-Log 3.
Hell yeah.
Every Sony user. How to expose S-Log 3. I'm shooting in log right now, actually, on that camera. Because I have no idea what Cinetone would look like compared to iPhone footage.
It's going to be interesting to see this.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I've never used like the actual camera for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've just kept it on iPhones because the files are so tiny.
Interesting.
And when you got, I will say if I did not compress the video for one of my last ones, it was going to be 700 gigabytes.
Damn.
And then I threw an H.264 on it, and it was 72. So I was like, all right.
All right. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. You know, you get what
nice.
you take. Would you let somebody edit your film?
No.
Ever?
No.
You would never let that happen?
Never.
Really?
Yes. I'd let someone... I think I'd definitely let someone do audio for my film. That's something I don't have that much knowledge
do the sound mix?
Yes. Okay. So like an actual actual sound design Foley and stuff like that. I did take a sound design class. I loved it. I actually, for my final project, I used the trailer from God of War Ragnarok, my favorite video game. I love God of War. I could go on a tangent about that. But I did that. I had a lot of fun, but I'm not that well versed with all of like the actual levels and stuff like that. Like, you have a whole setup. I would not know where to start, really. And I want to, and I have some audio equipment, but honestly don't know where to start with just like sound design. And
so much of sound design just comes from paying attention. That's literally it. That's like 90% of it is paying attention.
Paying attention
to like the really dumb stuff.
Okay.
So like there was this one clip in Murphy's Law that took me forever to fix, and I didn't know what was wrong with it. And then I looked at it. I was like, oh, like this car, like the traffic was at a different frequency than the traffic in this clip. And it's like, that's so dumb. No, like the frequency, not the decibel, the frequency. So I had to do a high pass on it and lower the frequency of like the white noise in the back that was traffic.
Oh my gosh.
To like a different frequency to make sure they blended together, because it was 2 different takes from like 5 minutes apart. So there were different cars making different noises. Yeah. And so it's like, bro, who would have, like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you have to care about this stupid stuff I've found with audio, where it's like, oh, I have to listen to like the hum of the refrigerator through the whole scene to do a pass for that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to do that, dude. Mm-hmm. You know, no. It's not just, oh, like, let's make sure their audio isn't peaking. It's like, bro, what is the, like, let's analyze the refrigerator hum in this scene from Hereditary. Like, that's how dumb it gets.
Yeah, that does make sense for, like, continuity is a big one. But then also, I don't know. Continuity is all I can think of for some reason. But just making sure everything is good and nothing kind of screws over the rest. I've seen a lot of short films that have been presented that are that pay zero attention to audio. Like
Mm-hmm.
one clip, you can hear the refrigerator humming. It's like a party scene. Okay, you can hear the refrigerator. The next one is just not. So because someone maybe said, "Oh, we can hear the refrigerator. Let's turn it off." But it was on in the other clips, and it's just, I think, the lack of awareness and lack of care. So, like you said, pay attention to the dumb stuff.
Well, it's like they wouldn't even know to pay attention to it. That's the issue.
They're like, "Oh, this doesn't really matter that much."
Like most people would know that like you shouldn't have your phone on vibrate on the same surface as the microphone.
Exactly.
Like that's just not something people think about.
No.
You know? I don't know, like there's like my water bottle's on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and I only do that because I blew up my eardrums like when I put my water bottle down in one of these recordings.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it's just like on the table.
Dang.
And like I drink from a very specific water bottle when I podcast because of how it opens, and it doesn't squeak or anything stupid like that. I don't know. It's really dumb. Audio is stupid, and it's all like its own thing too.
Yeah.
It's so subjective, but it's also universal. And I feel like visual, unless you're colorblind, is just straight up universal. It's not subjective.
It is pretty universal.
It's like, is this red? Yes. Okay, cool. You know, there's not. Is this loud? Like, well, you know, someone who went to like 40 rock concerts might not think it's very loud.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you have the decibel meter or whatever. But
Yeah.
I actually had that issue with Murphy's Law. I mixed the first half of it, and then the second half I mixed way too quiet. So I was watching it back, and I'm like, bro, I can't hear anything. Yeah. And so I had to go back and redo every single bit of audio. I couldn't just pull the whole thing up.
Yeah.
So I had to redo every single other bit of audio up like 2 or 3 decibels.
Dang, dude.
I was livid.
Yeah, this is why I let other people do that for me. Like, yeah, if I had the time, I would probably get into it. Like I just did over the past few weeks, I did a video for my dad, I think I told you about, for this baseball event.
Yeah, the baseball thing.
Yeah, like a banquet, right? So I edited a video, and I just threw in a couple tracks. I made sure that the audios were somewhat level, but they also had me go and talk to this guy who did specifically audio for events, and then he like went over the video again and just had to re-level stuff. I don't know what he did specifically, but he's like, oh yeah, this is a little blown out in this part. This is a little too much. This one's super quiet. For some reason, I'm just like, oh, I don't know. It sounded normal to me. Just went over my head. But yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's the same thing, but there's more of the dumb basics. So we're like, if your friends take a photo of you, your feet are probably cut off.
Mm.
Or like,
we had a conversation about
this.
this.
Or like your elbow's missing, you know, stuff like that. But there's like 40 of those things in audio, and there's like 10 of them in video.
Exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, like let's stand at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
Let's not cut off your feet.
Let's just make sure it looks
like,
good.
Like, let's get you some headspace.
Yeah.
Right? With audio, there's like, what are your decibels? What frequency are you at? What speakers are we using? You know, what are your headphones? Is your room sound treated? If your room soundproofed? Like, what does your floor look like? Do you have like a whatever? Like, this room is terrible for this. It's awful.
I know.
And I forgot to do one of those at the beginning, so that's going to be interesting.
That will be interesting.
I'll just have to find this part and line it up here.